Hey everybody, it's Tim Tialdo, author of Host Your Own TV Show, and welcome to the second of my 3 free training videos. Now, just a few days ago, you learned how to create a demo reel for hosting specifically, and once again, that by far is one of the biggest foundational pieces in getting a hosting gig. And now that you have that big rock out of the way, I want to teach you how to create the next foundational piece in your career. And that's something that you actually might not think is that important, but it really is, and that is how to really write a great bio about yourself. Because you not only want people to know about you, but you want them to believe in your story. You want them to get a good sense of your personality and your style when they read your bio. And I just read some recent statistics that say, on average, people spend about 30% more time on your social media about page than on any other. And it's actually one of the top 5 pages that people visit on anyone's page. So even if they've seen your reel, and I'm talking about casting directors or producers or even friends, this is simply another extension of your talents. So if casting directors and producers see that you can write and infuse your personality into that writing, it's just another leg up that you're going to have on the competition. So what I want you to do, grab a pen and paper and let's jump right into this. Now, when most of us sit down to write a bio, we don't know where to start. So what do? We end up looking up other people's bios and then we model ours after somebody who probably isn't anything like us. But with the prominence of social media networking, and I'm talking about your personal profile, your about page, your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Twitter, this is where people are getting a sense of who you are. And when they read about you, they're deciding things like, do I like them? Do I trust them? And maybe whether or not you're the type of host that they either want to hire or maybe even become friends with. So with your bio, you want to tell your story and you want to bring it to life. You see, the one thing that makes any TV show great, and most of you know this, is awesome storytelling. And the principle here is no different. So what I want to do today is walk you through a 6-part outline on how to structure and tell your story so you have a really great bio. And FYI, I know there are 6 steps here and you could probably go on for days writing through all these, but I don't want you to write a tell-all Bible on yourself. So up front, before I even tell you what the 6 steps are, understand that all host bios should be roughly a page to a page and a half in length, but no more. Now, I'm going to go through these pretty quickly and give you a brief description of each, but you'll probably want to go back and watch this video a couple of times to really get a feel for each step, okay? So here we go. And by the way, don't you love how my numbers get bigger as I go down? My handwriting is just awesome, as you learned in the first video. All right, so here we go. Number 1, start with a hook. And you've probably heard that term in our industry before. What is a hook? Well, this is your selling point. This is when you're telling them why you're the person that they're looking for. This is where you describe who you are, what you do, who you help. And you need to be really specific about who it is you're talking to here, because you basically want to describe to casting directors how you can help them overcome their core need or challenge in finding a host for their show. So what is it that they're looking for, and how can your talents specifically make their job easier? So up front, I want you to be crystal clear about who you are and how you can help them. And then if they understand how you're relevant to their situation or their need, guess what this does? It allows them to familiarize themselves with you and how you might fit in with them in their show. All right? So number 2, don't be afraid of anything, but don't be afraid, more importantly, to be you. Remember how we talked about authenticity in the first video? This kind of relates to that. What really impresses casting directors and people in general is when somebody isn't afraid to share their point of view. So what is your philosophy? What is it that you fight for? What makes you, you? It's crucial that you let others know who you really are. I want you to let your personality come out in your writing so that people get a sense of what you're about, what you stand for, who you are. Remember, the best hosts, and I mean the very best ones, aren't the ones that are just like everybody else. They're the ones who are different. They're unique. They make others want to look at their own uniqueness and go, you know what, it's okay to be me. Let's just take Ellen DeGeneres for an example here. She's gay, and you know what? That's okay, because she's made it okay, and she's made other people feel like that, and she is now one of the most influential hosts on the planet because she has talked about her philosophy, her viewpoint, who she is, and her uniqueness has made her very, very powerful, and you as a host can do the same no matter what your philosophy or point of view is. Number 3, tell us about your adventure. And I know you've all had an adventure doing something, and I'm not talking about some of the Yahoo parties you went to in college and got really drunk. I'm talking about how everybody has a great story to get to where they're at today. Now, it might be funny, it might be sad, it might be inspiring or crazy, but what this does is it really helps people understand what experiences have helped define who you have become to this point in your life. Maybe it's something that happened to you when you were a kid, or maybe a mishap that you had earlier in your career. Maybe you got fired or you went bankrupt or something. I want you to give people a sense of how you ventured into or started wanting to be a host. You know, what was the thing that made you say, you know what, my dream is to be a TV host? This is the blood and guts of your bio. It's what people want to know. Where is it that you come from? So just take your time and write that out a few different ways. You can go back and re-edit it, but just where is it that you come from? All right, number 4, and this is one that we all love to talk about, and that is adversities and obstacles. Adversities and obstacles. You see, I can guarantee that no matter who you are, you've been through some tough times and adversity to get to where you are, and I know if you're successful, I guarantee you've been through adversity. Now, everybody has, and most of the time we want people to have sympathy for the journey we've been on and the obstacles that we've overcome. And it's those things that really give us character. They give us integrity, and it shows that we weren't just handed everything on a silver platter and that we're just some gifted TV guy or gifted TV girl. I mean, how many great stories have you ever heard of people that don't overcome some sort of adversity? You know, maybe you used to work in some boring 9-to-5 crap job doing sales, or maybe you were a bartender, or I know a lot of you have probably been a waiter or a waitress and you decided, you know what? I'm done with this, I can do this TV thing. And so you've taken the big step to reinvent yourself as a TV host and become what you've always dreamed about doing. Or maybe you're successful in what you do now and you want to find a way to make your business bigger or develop your own show. Well, that's awesome. People love to hear those backstories of adversity and how you overcame them. I mean, think back to the 80s, for those of you who are that old. It was all about having the big job, the big house, the hot car, the kick-ass wardrobe. And now, because of what this whole country has been through for the past decade, it's not really like that anymore. People now have a greater respect for those who have overcome the odds. And when they read things in your bio, that you've dealt with or overcome in your life, it shows that you've got character. And character will always, always be more attractive than a resume full of credentials. So this is what people want to hear from you. So I want you to lay that out for them, and I don't want you to hold back. I mean, we all do love to talk about some of the pains that we've been through. So this is your chance to just get it all out on paper and write it out several different ways. Once again, just like the last step, and you can re-edit it as many times as you want. Number 5, and this is probably the most fun for those of you who work in this business, and that is to legitimize yourself. You know what that means you get to do? You get to brag, you get to talk about yourself. I know you TV hosts. This is where you get to pump yourself up and brag on yourself. This is what you want to do all the time. And it's something that we all unconsciously want to do because we want people to know what we've done. But guess what? We need to do it in the right way so we don't come off as arrogant, okay? So that's why we put this section deep into the bio. You don't want to, if you went into the bragging phase right off the bat, guess what? You get that, here we go reaction from just about everybody. Another TV host that thinks they're the greatest thing since sliced bread and that the world revolves around them. Guess what? You can still brag, but I just want you to do it here and I want you to be tactful about it. So here's how you do it. I want you to talk about maybe shows or events that you've been featured on, or maybe things that gave you recognition, any awards you've received. So if you've won an Emmy, guess what? This is the perfect place to talk about that. Maybe you've been featured on some well-known programs or shows. Maybe you've done some shows yourself. Maybe you wrote a book, kind of like I did. I want you to tell us about that. This is where your third-party credibility and your accomplishments let people know that, you know what, this person's the real deal. They've done it and they've been the part of some cool things, and they're not just blowing sunshine up my skirt trying to get cast for a job. Now, you want people to know that you're confident in who you are, where you've been, and your abilities. You want them to be able to see themselves in your story, to connect with you and your story, and then, you know what, they'll be able to understand, wow, this person really is real, and they have the experience to back it up. And the last one, and this is by far the most important, and in the first video, once again, we talked about authenticity, and this is where you get to do that in your bio. Be human. Share the little details. Share the things that you like to do that everybody else might find weird the things that you do because you just love it. Who knows? Maybe you go base jumping several times a year to relieve stress, or maybe you like to collect unique items or scrapbook them. Maybe you're some overzealous health and fitness addict and you take things a little over the top compared to most people. Maybe you have an alternate lifestyle that people find unique or interesting, or clubs you're in, or things you do. What I want you to do, I want you to share those. Those are the stories, the things and situations that make you special and make you unique. And in the social media world, people love to read about those details. They want to hear and know about the little things that they couldn't find out about you anywhere else. Okay? So there you go. These are the 6 steps to writing a great bio. So let's review them. First, I want you to start with a hook. And remember, this is about the selling point, about selling yourself. Let people know who you are and how you can help them. Number 2, don't be afraid to be you. Share your viewpoint on things, philosophies, opinions. If you're a political junkie, I want you to, spit that out. Let us know and tell us with passion. When the passion comes out, guess what? That's when you connect with people. Number 3, tell us about the adventure. And we've all had some wild times, some crazy things we've done that make for a great story. Paint that picture. Make us feel like we're there with you. This makes reading your bio fun for others. Number 4, adversities and obstacles. And remember, this is where you really get to share some of those struggles that you've been through to get where you are today. Share us the pain. Make us understand the struggle so we can emotionally connect with what you've been through. Number 5, legitimize yourself. And once again, this is the bragging section. Legitimize means brag. In our world, at least it does. Tell us about what you've accomplished, maybe the awards you've won, shows you've been on, but do it tactfully, once again, so you don't sound like some arrogant douche, okay? And lastly, be human, okay? Again, this tells us the little details that make you and why you're just another human being on this planet. People connect with people that they feel like they can relate to. So yes, being on TV is super cool, but in the end, we're all just normal people with different talents. So I want you to tell us who you really are outside of just being a TV host. Now, if these 6 steps seem overwhelming, I've included a link below to my bio on my website to give you an example of how I've written my bio. And many of you are, you're going to be from completely different backgrounds than me. But if you follow these 6 steps, you're really going to boost your chances of letting people know who you are and what you stand for before you ever meet them in person. And in a world where we speak, through technology about 80% of the time anymore, that goes a long way. And as I mentioned at the beginning, go back through this video several times and really get a feel for each step. Start drafting your story and making changes and tweaks along the way. And if you have any questions that you need some help with, I want you to feel free to email me. Just go to timtialdo.com. You can click on the contact link, drop me a line, and I will do my very best to help answer any questions you have. Now, coming up in a few days, you're going to receive the 3rd and final video in my free series, and it's really a great one because we're going to talk about how do you best develop a social media platform for TV hosting specifically. It's some great information that I've found to be very successful, and I hope you'll join me for that final video. Until then, remember, the only way to predict your future is to create it. Now go do it, and I'll see you soon.